Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Happy July 4th. Very significant day. But I was uh, saddened to see so many guns blaring across America. So we pay homage to all those people who lost lives. But today is a day also Swami Vivekananda had gone from his body. So that was also significant because he chose to go away on this day because he loved America so much. Spirituality through him came through to America and to the West. So that also is a very important day in that sense, right? Remembering what uh, Vivekananda stood for and how he brought the spirituality to the West from the East and then spent here almost 10 years and then did enormous work. And he went around uh, the country and established some Vedanta societies and also wrote some books here, Raja Yoga and Karma Yoga, which he wanted all the American youth to read. I think that's a very good solution. And he kind of um, really was instrumental in the foundations, starting from Rockefeller. Rockefeller was the one who made a lot of money, but he was miserable because that money did not give him the peace. So he came to Vivekananda. Vivekananda told him, "Why didn't you give away the money that you have?" And he went and gave some of the money, and he comes back and throws the receipts at him. Tells him, "Are you happy?" And he says, "I'm not going to be happy. You should be happy because you had that burden of that money and you now feel better, don't you?" Then the Rockefeller Foundation was born. And then from there, several other foundations were also born. Okay, the charitable work that is really gives a lot of people meaning and really happiness too. We know about that. So, uh, sharing spiritual experiences. That's what we are going to say a few words today. This is an hour where I'm coming and I'm talking about uh, how are you living spiritually and what are the things that are transmitted from you without words, then people can really understand spirituality in your life. Like we said yesterday, if you close your eyes, if you have peace, when you open your eyes, you want to serve the world. That means you don't have any moment of selfishness within you. You know, that's the hallmark in people like J. Krishnamurti, who had no trace of selfishness in him. Ramana Maharshi, Vivekananda, any of the Indian sages that I really understood and followed, they were like that. Okay, so you could be in their presence, and then you could feel that they are spiritually flowered, right? So that's the kind of thing. When you share experiences, um, you want to share experience of something significant happened to you where your mind doesn't have a hold on you. You're not intellectual, but you're spontaneous in the present, enjoying whatever that is in front of you, responding to everything equally. You know, that kind of thing. There are some poems in Bhagavad Gita in second chapter, 54 to 72. I think. These are considered the most important for people who are following, who is spiritually oriented, who is spiritually really flowered in a sense, you know. And those poems, what they say is, first of all, if you are at the soul or being level or your consciousness level, then we are all one. That is the oneness. This is a spiritually evolved person will display that. You know, so you can look for anybody like that, and then at the mind level, they are equanimous. That means kind of they react equally to both good and bad, both difficult times and good times. You know, and then at the relationship level with the world, with the people, they have detachment. They don't act like this is one list is for myself, others for the other people. That kind of thing won't be there. You know, and then they have sensory and mind control. So these are the four qualities that they are described in those poems from 54 to 72 in chapter 2 or 1. So when you look at somebody, they can share a particular point of time when everything turned around. Like Eckhart Tolle, he was 27 or so. He was deeply depressed, and he was always talking about, "I want to kill myself." You know, that was the word that he had used, and his experience of that night when he questioned, "Who is this me that wants to kill myself? Are there two me's in me that one wants to kill the other?" And immediately his thought reached to a point which is completely dropped and everything looked completely different for him. He was kind of enlightened. You know? So that was the kind of sharing experiences we could relate to, right? And then he said famously, regaining the memory of being, that there is a something like a being. You want to regain that memory and having that abiding into that feeling realization, that is enlightenment. Not thinking about it, but feeling realization. That's what he said. So that kind of stories that we could see why people turn completely spiritually, and then they are so happy with that. Nothing else touches that. Okay, there's a joy, there is a peace, there is a harmony, there is a purity of all of that. You know, when you experience that, nothing ever seems the same afterwards. Okay, this is possible for everybody, but at various stages, right? But at least you could see who have really related their stories. You can follow any number of leaders that have gone through this kind of inner transformation, which has come out in so much good for the outward. Socrates, or Saint Francis, or Mother Teresa, or Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi. Um, so any number of people, right? Even if you go into Western society, you go to and the maestro Eckhart way back, not the current Eckhart Tolle. In there were people who are really showed that, you know, that they have undergone that spiritual experience with it, and then they share with us, right? So if we not personally, we cannot do something with honesty unless we have gone through, and then we could relate to these stories and then understand what they are talking about. Okay, religiosity is different from spiritual nature I'm talking about. Religiosity is kind of belief or faith in particular creed or something like that. But then religious may not lead you to this liberation from the mind because your mind is steeped in that beliefs or faith and all that, right? So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the inner nature of continuous joy and happiness and clarity and really having the harmony with everybody else. That is the kind of spiritual transformation I'm talking about. Okay? See, these days, most of the time, people made a space in the religions that I know, the things that I go to sometimes because of the family. I'm seeing completely different way. Uh, Probably I get more out of those experiences because I know what is the underlying truth. For example, you are worshipping a picture that has a picture of Krishna, for example. I can see what Krishna stood for. what he was about, what is real Krishna Tattva, what is the nature of Krishna, which is universality, which is saying we are all the same at the being level, which is telling you that be equanimous, erase your ego. Those are all the things that I see in that, right? That he refers, and also he had tremendous difficulties in his life, but always faced them with a smile on his face. So those kind of things that I want to see, you know. So in that way, they radiate spirituality through the millennia and tell us about that. Okay, that kind of thing. So sharing spiritual experience of that kind of nature from other people's autobiographies or stories, I think that's also very, very good. But then don't be enamored by that and worshipping them, but mostly I try to understand what are the principles of the transformation and how can we bring them into our life. That's how the whole thing changes, right? So in our series of living spirituality means really identifying what is not spiritual in us and then trying to work to get rid of it. You know? For example, we perceive ourselves to be very protective or very guarding or very possessive about a thing, for example. You know, in that you can see uh, that we are being selfish about in a narrow way. But then, if you work on that and look at the transient nature of it and how these things change, all the things go down, then how you are really making yourself dependent on that and work towards the independent of that thing. For example, a car. You possess a car and you think that car is going to be there forever, and then have an attachment like, you know, and then later on if something happens, it is total in an accident or it's an engine failed or anything like that, then that's a moment that you yourself whether are being attached and selfish that way or not. And that simple thing, simple transformation tells you so much about your one state of mind, one attachments, that kind of thing within your own inner self. Transformation from that to the freedom that comes from having detachment for such a thing like that is really what we're talking about. Okay. And day to day, small things that can reveal us where we are bound or where we are limited, where we are really not free. You know, if you can see that and then work towards the freedom. For example, you like certain uh, vegetable or a fruit, and then you relish that, and then you enjoy that. You can enjoy that, but then don't have attachment. That's what they're talking about. And after that, once you eat and all that, don't crave for it. That's what they're talking about. Okay? If it is available, you are able to eat it, and then you're done in minimal quantities. That's fine. That's good. But after that, it's already gone, right? So having that detachment or something like that really makes us feel free inside and light. So the more you get rid of these kind of things, and the more you are within yourself free, the more you will feel lighter, lighter. As you become the being and not any extra things, your conclusions, your conditionings, or any of those, the lighter you feel and the better you feel. You will be spontaneous, you will be having the cheerfulness and joy in everything, and then you will enjoy the life as it presents to you. Okay, that kind of thing. Okay, so always keep that in mind and look at the ordinary small things. They are like a mirror. They reveal how you are, how you have developed, where your mind has taken you, what kind of conclusions you have, what kind of conceptions you have. That kind of thing. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to declare that. If suppose you are very collected and calm and somebody is shouting at you, That's a spiritual quality. You are equanimous to both good things and bad things. You can perceive that and stay there. Okay, you don't have to be proud about it, or you don't have to be really bad about feeling about it. You just witness. So it's easier the more you go into your witness mode. Not the thought that is going on, not the feeling that's going on, or the stream of thoughts, but what is the witness is doing, observing the stream of thought. You know, so that's very useful. So relating the experiences that had happened in a way that is non-challenged, that doesn't boost your ego, but doesn't really advertise the propaganda about it. But just by living, we can convey that. By really relating to people like Eckhart Tolle, I told you the story, those stories like a Buddha story, or like Gandhi story, or like Nelson Mandela. So many spiritually evolved people around us. If you look at them, I see some of these nursing assistants that are working in the hospital. They're so dedicated to the patients and then serving them and helping them daily tasks of getting up from the bed, having the bedpan cleaned, or taking them to the bathroom, or giving them a bath, or taking them to like a dining table, feeding them. Simple things that they do with such love and care. They are spiritual, in my opinion. Okay. Those kind of inner kindness, like a mom's feeling, or love, or friendship, any of those things they convey, that is really worth sharing. So this particular VNA, they call them, she was coming to the house and dealing with a sick relative. But what I saw was she was so dedicated to saying things a day in and day out, never complaining. Though I'm here working all this, I'm kind of should have been out there having fun. None of it. No self-thinking like that. She was very dedicated in serving that patient and then getting the joy out of it. I thought that was really spiritual. Those kind of things you can see around our regular life. Okay? So that's what I wanted to tell today. Hopefully, this series makes sense to you, because living spirituality is like a foreign term in most of the circles I am going around. But that's spiritual inclusion, spiritual remuneration, thinking about it and all that makes everything else much lighter. And then that's why I'm happy within my own self, and I'm happy turning inward, and also spending with that silence, or spending in that profound feeling of harmony with everything else. That really gives you a lot of joy and a lot of meaning of life. Because I'm a human being, because I have this interior, I was able to really enjoy greenery, the river that I go for the walks on, things like that. They really help you to feel like that. Okay, so uh, not having some things, or not having some status, not having a lot of material comforts, none of them gave me that kind of inner joy, right? But the inclination to the spiritual matters, uh, thinking, understanding, getting the confusion out, uh, maybe relating to people, and helping them in the need of the hour. We have a real tragedy befall on them, like a death or disease, or any number of things that I see with the patient, right? And also how they get some resourcefulness or power, or real strength from this spiritual nature. That's very easy, right? a father comes in the hospital, and he will be giving a lot of strength for them by the time he is done talking to them. So that is conveying spirituality. So that's what I'm talking about. Bring some spirituality in your life. Living that makes you feel lighter, and lightness of being is where you really can be in the moment, enjoy this moment, and have some real happiness. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense as well for you. If you have anybody wants to come up, and the wisdom app, you can. Otherwise, I will be closing down this room, and then I'll see you back again tomorrow. Okay. All right. We will continue to do the series next tomorrow. Also, maybe I'll talk to 20, 30 minutes again tomorrow. The topic is going to be when we offer support and guidance, not in the sense of converting them, but just to help them prod along whatever they are doing. If somebody is doing and brings you that, and then you would like to uh, share and guide them. That's how we can do without being dominating, without being a pressure on them. How can we share? How can we appreciate the quality that they are developing? That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And I'll see you. Thank you for coming up, and I'll see you tomorrow.